4 out of 5 employees say feeling fulfilled at work makes them feel more fulfilled at home. And this is according to the 2024 RICO North American Workplace Fulfillment Gap Index. But what about when you don't love your job? Are you doomed to live a boring life unless you actually take the leap and quit? And what about this tumultuous job market, especially in the tech industry? Is quitting really a good idea right now? Good news. In this video, you'll learn why you don't actually have to quit your job and how a boring 9 to 5 can actually give you the space you need to feel more fulfilled in all areas of your life, not less. And I'll teach you how you can get started with your own fulfilling project. Let's get into it. Most people make the mistake of assuming that their job is supposed to give them a sense of fulfillment, but they have it backwards. And when their job becomes boring and upward mobility becomes difficult and a volatile job market makes leaving the system seem like a bad idea, they wind up stuck and frustrated. Maybe you're here now. Here's the secret that no one told you. This exact moment is when you want to leverage, so that you can actually become more fulfilled, not less. Let me show you what I mean. When I was 5 years into working as an email marketer at a tech startup, I had lost my initial excitement for the role, and office politics plus a tight team budget made my work pretty stressful. I kept pushing and working hard, meeting deadlines, doing my projects. I even tried advocating for more budget to hire more team members, but I ended most days with a migraine and face planting on the couch. I had to change something. And that's when I started my own path of healing. But I did that without quitting my job. I spent my free time seeing specialists, working with doctors, studying things like alternative medicine, and I even started practicing yoga and meditation for the first time on a regular basis. Here's what I didn't know at the time. I had just started the passion project that would eventually lead me to a greater sense of fulfillment and purpose, both at work and at home. Now, most people say that you have to quit your job to pivot your life to feel more fulfilled, but that's actually the worst advice that I've heard. And here's why. When you quit your job without a backup plan or a safety net or savings in the bank, it starts a ticking clock for burnout, which is really the opposite reason of why you would want to quit anyway, right? And that's just because your nervous system doesn't like change. Change is scary, right? Even if your mind thinks that it's the good kind of change. On the level of your nervous system, change is outside of your comfort zone. And a big change like turning off the flow of income or changing your whole work identity or facing down the blooming question of what's next without a plan or support is the recipe for feeling more stressed and overwhelmed, not less. So here's what to do instead. Spark excitement elsewhere while still doing all that's necessary for your job at work. This might surprise you. So back to my story. When I started meditating and practicing yoga regularly for the first time, something magical started to happen. I was practicing yoga mainly because I was having all of these pains in my body and I knew that it was good for me and I needed to change something. But there was this little meditation at the end of class, right? This little meditation at the end of the YouTube video. And in that moment, my mind started to clear. And I started to feel this slightly unfamiliar feeling of possibility. And my body, of course, started to feel more at ease and stronger as well. But more importantly, that moment of possibility was happening because I had something that was totally mine outside of work to look forward to. And so I began to go deeper into my self discovery into my practice. I started reading books about meditation. I started listening to all of the different guided meditations on various apps and things like that. I even dipped my toes into spiritual methodologies like astrology and card reading. And then when I least expected it, I found myself sitting in a conference room at work one day, and I was leading this book club event for a women's group. And I ended up writing down a secret dream that I didn't know I had until that very moment. I wanted to become a yoga teacher. Imagine my surprise. Okay, so at this point, you're probably wondering the same question that I've helped so many 9 to 5ers with, and that's okay, but how do I know what I want to do? And what would help me feel more fulfilled, right? What would help actually you feel more fulfilled? Like yoga was the thing for me at the time, but what is it for you? Most people make the mistake that they need to have this crystal clear clarity on the thing or their purpose before they take any action on it. But that's actually going to just leave you more stuck, right? Back to square one. Because the truth is that clarity comes from taking action. And you only need just enough clarity to get started. But I also recognize that that's way easier said than done. And that's why I put together a free resource for you called the Clarity Compass Journal. Inside, you'll find a fun, playful quiz, because why not, to identify your intuitive style, 24 tailored prompts to help you actually get clear, just enough clear, on how to move forward based on where you're at in this process, as well as a downloadable meditation so you can connect with your most fulfilled self. Yeah. And you can snag it for free in the description below, or you can just comment the word clarity and I'll link it for you. So that same night after I wrote down my secret dream of becoming a yoga teacher at work, I got a newsletter in my inbox from a local studio announcing their yoga teacher training. And because I had learned to work with my intuition, I knew that it was a sign that I had to sign up. What happened next may surprise you because most people assume that starting a passion project or even a side hustle makes you less productive and less effective at your day job, or even more stressed because you now have all of these other commitments and interests to navigate. But I've actually seen the opposite happen, both in my own personal experience and with my clients at Google and YouTube, Microsoft, Meta, and more. You see, after I completed my yoga teacher training, I knew that I had found the first expression of my true purpose, but I didn't quit my job. Instead, I started teaching evening yoga classes at the company where I worked, right in the middle of the open meeting space, like right next to the lunch tables. I would walk around literally with this exact singing bowl, calling my colleagues to the mat, making them excited to join me for a little stress relief. And because they saw the changes in me at work, they were excited to try it out too. Now, the cool thing is that this class ended up being such a hit that my company paid me for 5 years to teach yoga twice a month. And they eventually, at one point, even asked me to host an offsite for our VIP customers when they came into town. It was such a blast. But that's not all. Because I had rekindled my life force energy by doing something that I absolutely loved and felt like it was fulfilling and gave me a positive impact on the world, I began to show up differently at work too. Even my manager commented on it. She was like, Emily, you seem just so much happier and like you're getting all of this stuff done and you're really focused on your priorities. Teaching yoga helped me level up in my role. I actually got promoted after I started teaching. So it's really about, even if you start a passion project and you think, oh, it's going to detract from my job, it's actually going to make you even better. And it also deepened my personal relationships because now I had something to talk about, right? I had something that I cared about instead of just the same old, oh, how was your day? What did you do at work? Now, while 4 years later, I did end up quitting my job because I wanted to take my coaching business, which was the second iteration of my yoga teaching business, full time. And I look back now and I see how starting that yoga teaching experiment as a passion project while working full time actually helped me be more fulfilled and feel supported and regulated and calm in my nervous system without having to take a scary leap before I was ready. Now, I'm going to guess that while all this sounds good to you, you may be stuck on how you can actually start the passion project or the side hustle while still juggling all of your responsibilities at work and at home, maybe have some kiddos, right? And so that's why I made my next video all about it. Go ahead and click to watch it, and I'll see you there.